The silk is tightening around your wrists. Not rope, silk. Expensive, deliberate, because silk doesn't leave marks. You're kneeling on wet stone in a chamber that smells like lamp oil and fear. The floor gleams, not from water, from something else, something you don't want to think about. In front of you, 3 doors. Behind the first, women are weeping, soft, rhythmic, like prayer. Behind the second, nothing, just silence so thick it feels like drowning. Behind the third, laughter, the soft clink of wine cups, voices discussing poetry in Arabic you barely understand. Your name is Catherine. You're 23 years old. 3 months ago, you watched your father die holding a contract he thought would save you. It didn't. Now a man in a spotless robe is walking down the line of women beside you, asking questions in languages you know and languages you don't. His voice is calm, clinical. He's not choosing slaves, he's sorting inventory. One of these doors will determine whether you survive the next decade. One of them will make you wish you hadn't. And the worst one? It's not the one with the screams. By the time this story ends, you'll know what was behind all 3 doors. You'll understand why 12 years from now, Catherine will stand in front of a sultan and say words that should have gotten her killed. And you'll realize something most people never learn about history. The cruelest systems aren't built by monsters. They're built by people who convinced themselves they were being reasonable. Damascus, 1260. The Crusades are ending, but for the women left behind, something worse is just beginning. 6 hours before the doors, Catherine's father made a calculation that would kill him. He was a merchant, a good one, the kind who understood that survival in Acre, one of the last Crusader strongholds clinging to the coast, required relationships that crossed battle lines. He had contracts with Mamluk officials, letters sealed with wax and official stamps, promises written in Arabic and Latin that assured safe passage for his family and his goods. He believed paper could stop steel. He was wrong. When the Mamluk armies breached the gates in the spring of 1260, those contracts dissolved like ink in water. His carefully negotiated agreements meant exactly nothing to the soldiers pouring through the streets. The letters he clutched as proof of protection became kindling. Catherine's father died in his own courtyard, still holding a document with a sultan's seal. Catherine and her mother were pulled apart in the chaos. Different hands, different directions. Catherine screamed her mother's name until her throat bled and her voice gave out. She never saw her again, never learned if her mother survived the first week, the first day, the first hour. 3 months later, Catherine stood in that underground chamber with 17 other women pressed against cold limestone walls, all Christian, all captured during the same campaign that erased Acre from the map, all waiting for a man named Amir Tashamor to decide their fates. Tashamor entered through the center door, carrying no weapons. He wore the simple robe of a royal steward, but the deference shown to him by the guards revealed his true authority. His title, in the Mamluk administration, translated roughly to integration specialist. Integration. That word appears in the official records with disturbing frequency. It sounds almost humane, clinical, like helping refugees adjust to a new society. Here's what it actually meant. The Mamluks had learned something during their own enslavement that most conquerors never grasp. Human beings are malleable. Given the right combination of time, isolation, and total environmental control, you can systematically erase one identity and build another in its place. They knew this because it had been done to them. Every sultan, every emir, every commander who shaped the medieval Middle East had started as a slave. Boys taken from Turkic tribes in Central Asia, from Circassian communities in the Caucasus, purchased as children, converted to Islam, trained in warfare and administration with ruthless precision. By their 20s, these former slaves had become elite warriors. By their 30s, they commanded armies. And when the Ayyubid dynasty collapsed in 1250, it was a Mamluk, a former slave, who seized the Egyptian throne. This created a paradox at the heart of their society. The ruling class consisted entirely of men, who'd been systematically transformed through bondage. They didn't view this as tragedy, they viewed it as proven methodology. If boys could be converted into warriors, then captured populations could be converted into whatever the state required. And the state required much. Soldiers, servants, artisans, labourers, administrators, and women who could perform functions that free women of equivalent status could not or would not provide. So they built infrastructure to process thousands of people annually. 7 major facilities in Damascus alone. Standardized procedures. Medical examinations within 24 hours of arrival. Classification based on age, origin, physical condition, and assessed capability. Records tracked every individual through the system. Mortality rates were calculated. Productivity was measured. The Mamluks approached human acquisition with the same systematic thinking they applied to military logistics. Tashamor was one administrator in this vast apparatus. But what he did next would determine everything about Catherine's life for the next 12 years. 12 years. Remember that number. Because at the end of those 12 years, Catherine would do something unprecedented. She would stand in front of Sultan Kalawan during a public audience, a setting where women from the harem quarters never spoke unless specifically summoned. And she would say words that should have gotten her executed on the spot. Words that no enslaved woman had ever said in public. Instead, those words set her free. But we're not there yet. We're still in the underground chamber, watching Tashamor walk past Catherine without looking at her, stopping in front of a younger girl. Maybe 16 Armenian features, terrified eyes. He speaks to her in Arabic. She doesn't understand. He repeats himself in Armenian. Her face drains of colour. She shakes her head. He nods to a guard. The girl is led toward the left door. Door 1. It opens. Through it, Catherine glimpses sunlight, a courtyard. Dozens of women sitting in rows, heads bowed, while men in official robes examine them with the practiced efficiency of livestock merchants evaluating breeding stock. The door closes. Tashamor continues down the line. His selections follow patterns. Age matters, origin matters, physical condition matters most of all. But there's something else he evaluates, something less tangible. He asks each woman a question in her native language. The question varies, but the underlying test remains constant. He's measuring their capacity for transformation. The Mamluks understood something that modern psychology wouldn't articulate for centuries. Given sufficient time and total control over environment, human identity is far more malleable than most people want to believe. Before we open that first door, do me one favour. If this story matters to you, if you believe these women deserve to be remembered, hit the like button and subscribe. It's the only way stories like this reach more people. Now let's see what was behind door 1. Catherine had not been broken. Not yet, but the system knew how to break people without leaving visible damage, how to erase previous identity, while building new compliance, how to maximize economic return while maintaining social control. They'd developed techniques refined over decades of practice. Door 1 opened again and again. Women disappeared through it one by one. Catherine watched, waited, tried to understand the pattern in Tashamor's selections. Then he stopped in front of her. His eyes were neither kind nor cruel, just calculating. He asked his question in Frankish French. His accent was perfect. This detail matters. The Mamluks didn't merely conquer, they studied. They learned the languages of their enemies. They understood Christian social structures well enough to exploit them. Can you read? Catherine hesitated. In that moment of hesitation, she made a decision that would determine everything. She could lie, claim ignorance, hope that illiteracy might make her less valuable, might lead to assignments somewhere less terrible than whatever awaited educated captives. But something in Tashamor's eyes suggested he already knew the answer. Her father had been a merchant. Merchants taught their children to read. Contracts, correspondence, records. Lying would only demonstrate that she lacked judgment. Yes, she said, French and Latin, some Arabic. Tashamor's expression didn't change, but something shifted in his posture. He gestured to a guard who brought a wooden tablet covered in wax. On it, someone had written a sentence in Arabic script. "Read this." Catherine studied the words. The script was formal, classical, a line from religious poetry. She read it aloud, slowly, her pronunciation uncertain but comprehensible.